Right, hey, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise unto our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kodash. Let me make sure this microphone. Okay, yeah, so, Shalakia. Shalakia, and like double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and salutations and blessings to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four winds of the earth, that believe wholeheartedly in the true doctrine that is being pushed throughout the four winds of the earth, who are in hope of mercy and salvation during the time of Jacob's trouble, as well as when Yahweh Shai returns to the planet Earth. All right, this will be a quick news and prophecy type video. I have a couple of articles I want to bring out, and of course marry them to the scriptures of the times that we are living in. All right. As you can see, this first article I have here, we're just going to dive right into it. The first article I have here is from CNN, the app CNN. It says, Trump says Chicago next up for federal crime crackdown. All right, and as we know, last week, they started the campaign dealing with D.C. with sending federal agents in there to, basically patrol Jake. That's what it's all about. All right, which this is biblical prophecy right here in the making. All right, we're going to show you that in the Holy Scriptures. Okay. So let's read a little bit. It says, President DJT said Friday that Chicago will be the next city his admin targets for a federal crackdown on crime, and suggested a longer and more intense campaign in the nation's capital. All right. So what you're seeing is that this cabinet, this administration, they're getting ready to lock things down. And what you're seeing on the surface, all right, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. All right. This is them waving the hand. This is the sleight of hand type move. All right. Showing the force of federal agents. That's the sleight of hand. What's happening behind the scenes that they're not telling you about is what's really the plan. All right. Which I believe, this is just my personal opinion, them setting up logistically, getting things in place so when they do go full-fledged, they will have that advantage over Jake. All right, they will have everything in place they need to have in place. The different foreign troops that came over here, all right, I believe they're being positioned for when it really gets out of hand. All right, they will be ready. And it will be a what you would call organized chaos set up by the devil. All right, the so-called white man, order ab chaos. All right, they're gonna bring order through the chaos that they're starting. Okay. Now this is his quote. DJT's quote. It says, "We'll straighten that one out probably next. That will be our next one after this," Trump said from the Oval Office. "I think Chicago will be our next, and then we'll help with New York." And these are predominantly major cities where the tribes are the predominant race, so-called. Okay? So what we're seeing, and I'm not gonna, read this whole article. It's, kind of lengthy. But what we're seeing is basically what Yahushua told us in the book of Luke, the 21st chapter. All right? They are logistically setting things up around you, Jake, and you think it's a joke. You don't think it's going to get to the point to where violence is going to ensue. Violence will ensue. All right? Violence will ensue, and it will ensue, and it'll be very bad. It is going to be bad. Okay? Because right up under your nose, they're getting set to starve you out. All right? They're getting set to do everything imaginable. All right? As far as persecution. All right? Against you tribes. And they're setting it up right up under your nose. All right? And you thinking that it's good for the community, which, yeah, we know Jake is fucked up in these cities and whatnot. Okay, but what's getting ready to happen, it's gonna affect all of you Jakes, because you truly don't know what the hell's going on. You think they're gonna just they just looking at the drug dealers, the thugs, the gangsters, the pimps, and the hoes. Because I know in LA, I've been checking out videos in LA, they cleaning up the hoes off the street. So it's happening in all major cities. It's not just happening in DC. All right? Like I said, this is the sleight of hand. They're getting ready to really bring the force down. And they know, trust me, they know that the military, all right, the U.S. military will not, shoot and just gun down so-called American citizens. Even though they authorized in D.C., they've authorized the National Guard to carry weapons. All right, but they're not gonna. Come on, man. These people in the National Guard are Americans, so-called. They're American people. So that's why I believe this is a sleight of hand of something a lot more bigger. All right. Because what happened to all those UN troops that we see come over the border under the administration of Sleepy Joe? Okay, where have they been positioned? They're in the cut waiting, because eventually it's gonna get violent, and the ones that will carry out the violence will be, in my opinion, these different nation troops. It's not going to be the troops of the American people. All right, and I believe this administration knows that. Okay. But we'll see. It says the president has credited his federal takeover of D.C. police force and deployment of National Guard there with driving down crime in the city. And there's been reports that crime has been down for the past 2 years. All right. It says touting a week-long stretch without any murders as a miracle, despite the fact that such weeks have occurred in D.C. multiple times so far this year. He said he could keep National Guard members in the city as long as I want. And this is this devil being proud, all right? But he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing, all right? Let me see, I think, yeah, here's a couple more quotes from DJT. It says Trump has also, DJT has also took aim at D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and threatened to do more than just seize control of the police force if she didn't get her act straight. I'm tired of listening. This is a quote from DJT. I'm tired of listening to these people say how safe it was before we got here. It was unsafe. It was horrible. And Mayor Bowser better get her act straight, or she won't be mayor very long, because we'll take it over with the federal government running like it's supposed to be run, DJT said. Okay? And this is them saying, it says, DJT dismissed polling that showed most city residents disapprove of the deployment of federal troops, calling it fake news. Okay? So he ain't giving a damn about what the people saying. Okay? Showing you that he's down with the elite. He's on a mission. All right? A mission to complete what the elite have assigned him to complete, which is a total takeover and the shutdown and soon to be put in camps and enslavement of the tribes and more and micro sea-hipped. All right? He's the guy. Okay? I'm going to read a little bit more and then we'll go to the other article. All right? It says, and claiming that residents of Chicago and cities are clamoring for a similar law enforcement crackdown where they live. Another quote, they're wearing red hats. African American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President DJT, come to Chicago. All right? So he's not going to stop. All right? This administration is not going to stop. They're on a mission to accomplish the elite bankers' agenda, which ultimately is the Heavenly Father's agenda. All right? They're going to fulfill these prophecies of these end times. Now, I had came across this Edomite on Edomite Talk. He was saying that the district attorney, I believe it is, in D.C. All right, yeah, we'll read it. We'll read it right here because I typed it in just to see if it was true what he was saying on TikTok, and it is indeed true, which is not law, but residents can now they won't be charged with any felonies for carrying registered rifles and shotguns in the district. And this was 2 days before they authorized the National Guard to carry arms while they're on their missions. All right, so let's read this just a little bit. So the question I asked was, DC residents can now carry shotguns and rifles. And it says, no, residents cannot freely carry rifles and shotguns in public in DC, while federal prosecutors led by U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro will no longer pursue felony charges for carrying registered rifles and shotguns in the district. This is a change in federal enforcement policy, not a change in local law. DC law still generally prohibits carrying rifles and shotguns without a permit, and local authorities can still prosecute violations of this law. The change aims to align with Supreme Court decisions on Second Amendment rights, but does not remove the prohibition or the requirement for permits. All right, so there it is. And here's another one. It says, federal prosecutors in the nation's capital will no longer bring felony charges against people for, here it is, it's pulling up now. U.S. Attorney will no longer bring felony charges against people for carrying rifles or shotguns in D.C. And this was put out there on the 20th of August. right? And I'll place this link in the description box if you want to check it out. Because like I said, this is sleight of hand. They're trying to antagonize Jake to justify the force that they're getting ready to bring. All right? Remember, order ab chaos. This is how the devil operates. All right? So I looked this up, and then, Shalaki, let me. Okay, here it is here. This was just yesterday, the 22nd, Friday. It says Haggaseth, Hegseth authorizes National Guard to carry weapons in D.C. deployment. Okay, do you think that's a coincidence? A couple days before, no felony charges will be pursued if you're caught with a shotgun or a rifle carrying it, and then now they are authorizing the National Guard to carry their weapons. All right. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's, going to antagonize Jake. All right, that's going to antagonize Jake. And all they need is one goofball to fire a shot. That's all they need. And then they're going to come with the real force. Okay? That's just, my personal spiritual assessment on things. Could be something different, but these things are happening, and they're happening fast. All right? And like I said, all it takes is for these troops to be out there walking around with weapons. That's going to put a spirit on Jake. All right? I remember going back, looking at footage from the 92 riots in L.A. when they deployed the National Guard. When National Guards was out there with their rifles, it put a spirit on Jake to want to get cracking. You can hear it's like if you go on YouTube and you type in L.A. riots 92 National Guard, with rifles and whatnot, you could see they showed Jake out there. I was about to be 10 years. No, I was, what was it? Yeah, I was 9, 10 years old around the time. But they, in the videos I was watching, Jake will roll up on the National Guard and basically cussing them out. You know what I'm saying? Calling them cowards, this, that, and the third, because they were in the neighborhood with rifles. Okay, so it puts a spirit on people when you're being occupied by a military that's supposed to be protecting you, but you're being occupied and watched over, and they're carrying live ammo. Okay, so I just thought that was rather interesting that these things are happening, and they're happening back to back. Matter of fact, let's listen to a little bit of this real quick, and then we'll get to scriptures. Like I said, I didn't want to make this too long. I gotta get going anyway here in a second. Yeah, service is bad over here, man. I don't even want to. It don't even look like I got bars. Let's try it one more time. If not, we'll just get these scriptures. Yeah, this service is pretty bad over here. But so as you see, man, they've authorized the National Guard to carry weapons. They're telling the public that they will no longer bring felony charges against people carrying rifles or shotguns in D.C. Okay, 2 days after that, they authorized the National Guard to carry their arms. So they're antagonized. They're pushing for something to happen, and it could be an agent provocateur. All right, and then DJT. Let me bring that back. DJT says Chicago next for federal crime crackdown. So this is a whole operation that they have going on. All right, the forefront is sending out the forces, showing force, and we don't know what's happening in the back end, on the behind the curtain. Okay, they waving the hand to look over here. We're bringing federal agents to D.C., to Chicago, to New York, all these major cities. But what are they doing with their other hand? Okay, remember, this is the devil. So let's get these scriptures. All right, this is the main scripture I wanted to read here in the book of Luke, the 21st chapter. All right, Yahweh Shai warned of these things to come. All right, this is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 20. It says, "And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies," and this is what we're seeing. All right, Jerusalem is a people before it is a place. Jerusalem are you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. All right, predominantly. And then you confusing the face Israelites, all right, that are scattered throughout the four winds, scattered amongst the tribes here in the States. You may look like the other nations, but you live amongst the tribes and you vibe with the tribes. Okay? You're Jerusalem. And what we're seeing is that you're being compassed about with armies. This is what we're seeing, just as Yahweh Shai said would happen. All right? Then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. We're close. All right? We're close. They're deploying federal agents and National Guard armies, all right, around Jerusalem right now. The people. Okay? And this is what Yahweh Shai said when you see these things. Now, this happened 2,000 years ago when he was on the scene. And this is what he told, this is what he was telling the people. All right, then let them which are in Judea, if you in the major city, right, flee to the mountains. And let them which are in the midst of it depart out. Meaning you better get out of there while you can. And I've been seeing videos of that. All right, people, especially Edomites. Edomites are saying if you're so-called black or brown or even a woman, and you can leave the country, you should do it now. All right? They're telling you if you can leave the country and live somewhere else, you should do it now, because they're going to be treating the tribes, the Israelites, the true Israelites, like they treated those 1948ers in Nazi Germany. Okay? And we've been telling you this, that this day was coming. All right? And it's all the judgment of the Lord. All right? Yahweh Shai warned you. And we reading it. He's warning. All right? He's been warning through the mouth of his prophets. And now we're starting to see these things come to fruition. Okay? It says, then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter therein too. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. This is the time. See, all things which were written wasn't fulfilled 2,000 years ago. All right? Now is a time where all things right now is getting ready to be fulfilled. All right? Even though 2,000 years ago there was a great slaughter in Jerusalem, well, Yahweh Shai said it would happen. But At that time, all things weren't fulfilled. This is the time to where there will be a slaughter, and all things that are written are getting ready to be fulfilled. Mainly, the mandatory micro sea hipping. Okay? It says, verse 22 again, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. 23, but woe unto them that are with child, women, okay? You women with your children, you Israelite women, the hell with the other nations women. The Lord finna get a whole boatload, many of the daughters of Zion, all right? Because of the pride that you walk around Babylon with, that the so-called white man gave you. And now that he's getting ready to kick you to the curb, you have no cloak. You don't even have a man. Okay? So you're getting ready to witness your children being snatched from you, separated from you, screaming, hollering. It's going to get bad in Babylon, man. It's going to get very bad here in Babylon the Great for you tribes, man. All right? This is what Yahweh Shai is saying to you. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, women that are just having babies. You know, you still got a baby, he's not even 2-3 years old, still on the breast milk, or supposed to be. All right, it's going to be very bad for you in these times. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. All right, and who are the target? The target are the Israelites. All right, that speech that Trump gave with his administration last week, when they was talking about riding on ATVs, and he said they travel well. He was talking about the tribes, man. All right? They coming after you, Jake. So you better get with it or get lost. Now let me get one of my favorite scriptures concerning these times here in Jeremiah the 6th chapter. All right? Because this is getting ready to be fulfilled as well. Because this all ties in to what DJT and his administration is doing. It says, thus saith the Lord, Jeremiah 6:22, thus saith the Lord, behold, a people coming from the north country, and a great nation shall be raised from the sides of the earth. Now we understand and know that this was referring to ancient Babylon, when they came in and sacked the city. Well, we're in modern Babylon, and they're coming in to sack the city, or Jerusalem, as we read in Luke 21. But everything is spiritual now. Jerusalem is the people. It's no longer the place. See, back then, in Jeremiah's time, Jerusalem, all right, the actual land, had the people in there. So they came and sacked Jerusalem. See, but this time, the Babylonians, all right, the spiritual Babylonians, they're coming to sack the city, which is Jerusalem, which in this time, it's a people. It's spiritual now. It's no longer, because we're not in our land, but we are here in Babylon, in all these major cities. Okay? It says again, Jeremiah 6:22, thus saith the Lord, behold, a people coming from the far country, from the north country, and a great nation shall be raised from the sides of the north. They shall lay hold on bow and spear. They are cruel and have no mercy. Their voice roareth like the sea, and they ride upon horses set in array as men for war against thee, O daughter of Zion, talking about the Israelites. We have heard the fame thereof, our hands wax feeble. Anguish have taken hold of us, and pain as of a woman in travail. And it says, go not forth into the field, nor walk by the way, For the sword of the enemy and fear is on every side. And this is what's getting ready to be happening. All right? They finna be all out there in all these major cities. All right? Showing that show of force. And fear is going to be out here. Okay? It says, O daughter of my people, gird thee with sackcloth and wallow thyself in ashes. Make thee mourning as for an only son. Most bitter lamentation, for the spoilers shall suddenly come upon us. And we're seeing this getting ready to happen in real time, right in your faces. But majority of the people are not taking it, you know, like it is what it is. Jake like to say that, but this is for real finna be is what it is. It's gonna be the new norm. All right, and like I said, all it takes is one shot, one National Guard, one federal agent to get shot or shot at, and it's on. And that can easily be done by agent provocateur, easily. So yeah, that was it. I just wanted to bring those articles to the forefront, you know, just to, you know, show what's going on prophecy wise, you know, keeping our spiritual eye to what's going on out there, man. You know, so Lord will, this was informative and edifying to the hopeful elect, giving all praise unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and we on to the next video. And I'll place these different links and articles in the description box. Lord will, I remember. Hey, shalom, shalom.